Hello everyone, this is AndresRestart, and today we have a quick one, but also maybe a big one. And definitely put this under rumor territory, take it with a grain of salt. Don't completely buy into this until it's officially confirmed, but we have a couple reasons to think that The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD will finally be coming to Nintendo Switch. So what's going on? Well, there's a couple different things that are going on right now. But the main one that has tipped us off to this perhaps happening soon is this recent listing from videoigr.net. And as you see, they have a variety of different games that have already been listed on their website. And you'll notice one of them includes The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD for Nintendo Switch. Now, we've seen listings like this pop up before. This isn't necessarily proof of anything. Oftentimes, there are gaming sites out there that have put up certain games in anticipation for something like this getting announced and not being quite right, and well, nothing ever happens. And even on this site, videoigr, they have done this before. But this site is also responsible for putting up listings for Metro Redux and Darksiders 3 for Switch, and then just a few days later, surprisingly, they were announced. So this site has some history of listing games, and then shortly afterwards, something happens. So yeah, this might mean that finally we're going to get Wind Waker HD. And the reason why I'm being so cautious about this one is because we've been talking about Wind Waker HD and also Twilight Princess HD, which we have no recent new evidence for, by the way. It's just for Wind Waker. Anyway, these have been rumored for a long time from many different places, a lot of places we consider credible. We've seen it mentioned by Andy Robinson, by Jeff Grubb, and others. All those different types of insiders have mentioned these as being done and ready, and Nintendo just kind of waiting for some random time to announce them. Maybe this is the random time. We do have different insiders as of late that are suggesting that more remasters are on the way, like PH Brazil, or like Samus Hunter, or like even Pioro. And actually, on the note of Pioro, taking a look at his profile that yes is privated, no, he hasn't lost all of his sources because Pioro still has been leaking things ever since the June debacle. It's just a lot less, but there's still some things. And yeah, it doesn't also include Xenoblade Chronicles X. They were someone who teased that, as well as MEO, Famicom Detective Club, and a few other things. But the reason why we're looking at this now is because you'll notice that their banner has a distorted looking clock, and this is changed after the music app announcement. Many of us think this is teasing something, we're not sure, but now with the Wind Waker HD listing, I take a look at this and I think, oh, that's like wavy, watery, as in waves, the sea, The Legend of Zelda, Wind Waker HD. Pioro might just be teasing that. And if that's the case, then this is likely an imminent announcement. In other words, it is about to happen. And when I say about to happen, I know we've talked about like Switch 2 being imminent, and we were just off about that. But when it comes to Pioro things, typically when Pioro says something, it happens relatively soon. So I would actually be expecting an announcement for The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD, maybe even this upcoming week. If this information is true from this gaming site here, videoigr.net. And even if it isn't, why did Pioro change his banner to look like this? Typically, Pioro's hinting at something. He doesn't just do something for no reason. There's reason and intention behind all of his subtle little things he does on his social media page that is this privated Twitter account. And let me just take this quick opportunity to ask that if you've been enjoying my content, or if you watched through this video and you've enjoyed it, to please subscribe and hit that notification bell. So I think something's going on. It might be Wind Waker HD. Temper your expectations. Don't let your hearts get totally aflutter, but maybe it might finally happen. We are approaching the end of the Switch generation. Nintendo may want to give us a variety of remasters, and perhaps a lot of the games they've been sitting on the last few years, they're going to start to churn those out, and that may include The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD. Before closing out here though, I think we should also talk a little bit about Twilight Princess as well, because both Wind Waker and Twilight Princess have been rumored together, somewhat similar to how Metroid Primes 2 and 3 have also been rumored together. But I do think it should be noted in the case of Metroid Primes 2 and 3, initially, they were rumored alongside 1 as well, as an entire package, as Metroid Prime Trilogy, and then as we got closer to something actually happening, those rumors turned out to actually mean Metroid Prime 1 Remastered getting kind of a significant treatment there, and then eventually, well, at least supposedly, because they haven't been announced yet, we'll get Metroid Primes 2 and 3. But I guess a big difference for the Metroid Prime games versus Wind Waker and Twilight Princess HD, the Metroid Prime games haven't seen a significant remaster treatment yet, aside from 1 now, obviously. And there's this bigger game we're sort of anticipating with Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. And last year, the big game we were anticipating for Zelda was Tears of the Kingdom. We thought we might see Wind Waker and Twilight Princess before Tears of the Kingdom, and it didn't happen, which is one of the bigger reasons why I don't talk about Wind Waker happening as often anymore, because, well, I feel like the ship has sailed on this one, pun intended. However, if it's been done, eventually Nintendo may just decide to release it, and there we go, we have the game. And it does feel like we've at least had enough time since the release of Echoes of Wisdom where maybe we can start talking about something else coming relatively soon. And so maybe that includes Wind Waker. But coming back to Twilight Princess, if we only get Wind Waker, when do we get Twilight Princess? And I think there's a possibility they just announce it randomly maybe half a year later, or a year later. But it's also totally possible that we never see Twilight Princess HD come to Nintendo Switch. And I think it's interesting because Twilight Princess HD was not an in-house project. It was done by Tantalus. Wind Waker was an in-house project that was used to experiment going into the development for Zelda U, Breath of the Wild. So Nintendo might look at these two different games a little bit differently from an internal perspective. And perhaps Nintendo might actually want to revisit Twilight Princess later down the road in a more significant way. Maybe they're gonna just completely forget about Twilight Princess HD and eventually someday, I'm not saying soon, but someday, remake Twilight Princess to look something like that technical demonstration we saw using the Twilight Princess art style for Wii U, but obviously with modern standards, it would look even better. Personally, I would be okay with that. But in regards to Wind Waker HD, what do you all think? Is this the time it finally happens? Or is this just gonna be another one of those situations where we get our hopes up and nothing materializes? Let me know in the comments below. This is AndresRestart. Thank you so much for listening and watching, and I'll see you all really soon. Take care. Bye.